So, I was just going to talk about melodic comping, 4 different types of chords. Here's this What You Won't Do for Love, Bobby Caldwell. It's got these 4 chords: D flat major, C7 altered, F minor to B flat 7. And what I like to do is I like to determine what overall sound each chord can be in. You know, there's some options, of course, but I'm just going to treat this one as a good old 1 chord, you know, Ionian, or maybe Lydian, I guess. You know, you could put a sharp 11 in there, wouldn't hurt. But this C7, I'm treating it as a superlocrian, as in a 7th mode of melodic minor, also known as the altered, capital A altered. So it's basically a shell voicing, root 3rd and flat 7. And it's got altered 9ths and altered 5ths. That's the Dan Hurley definition of an altered dominant, as in the altered dominant. And then it goes to F minor, and I'm going to treat that as either an Aeolian or a Dorian. It would work just fine. You could even treat it as a melodic minor, which would make this B flat 7 make more sense, because that I'm treating that as a Lydian dominant, the 4th mode of F melodic minor. So if you can treat each one as a 7-note option instead of just whatever the chord symbol says, which may only imply 4 notes. You know, you can work out what 7-note sound each chord can be. Therefore, you can have more options when you're comping, more upper extensions and stuff like that. So I have listed here, right there, some melodic comping voicings that happen to be compiled from my book, Voicing Modes. There's a reference section in the back that lists each sort of chord flavor melodically, up the B string and up the E string. Here we just have them up the E string. And say you have a D flat major, you can kind of practice them like in a scale, right? So here's going up the... That happens to be in the key of A flat major, right? So a D flat major chord would sound like a Lydian chord in that sense. So here's a 3rd in the melody. Here's a sharp 4 in the melody. Here's a 5th in the melody. Here's a 6th in the melody. Here's another option for the 6th in the melody. 7th in the melody. Root. 9th. Another option for 9th. And so, you know, so on. 3rd. And so if you can learn your chords that way, and be hyper aware of what the melody is doing, it's easier to target those notes when you're playing chord melody stuff, when you're soloing and things like that. So what I'm doing is I'm thinking of not the parent key, but I'm thinking of the melody that's on top of this D flat, right? So each one is an interval shape. So that this is the difference between, say, saxophone or, you know, like with guitar, you have the same shape. Each interval is the same shape. So that is a 3rd. That shape is a sharp 11. That shape is a 5th, and so on, right? And you just fill in the blank, fill in the gap. You know, here's a 6. You know, you can fill it in like that. Now these chords I've kind of lived with for a long time and picked up various voicings over the years. And, you know, like the struggle with learning chord melody, you're like, hey, well, what kind of voicing can I play that has the 5th in the melody or whatever? You know, you've got, and eventually you develop options, right? And I have my favorites. I have my sort of knee-jerk go-to type chord voicings for each one, right? And you know, you can get a lot of mileage out of one shape. You know, say you take this shape, it's a D flat 6/9. You can just kind of play the scale around. But you want to be aware of the melody. I like to think of numbers, so I think 2, I think root, here's flat 7, it's a major 7, 6, 5, sharp 4, 3rd, you know. That way you have something to play, like when you're playing, single line stuff. Each one has a family that can back it up, in a bar fight or whatever. Okay. And then when it comes to Superlocrian, the C7 altered, right? You do the scale, 1, flat 2, sharp 2, third, flat 5, sharp 5, flat 7. So I know it comes from D flat melodic minor, but I'm not thinking of it as that. I'm trying to think of it as a C scale. It's a C altered. So here's one with the root and the melody. Here's the flat 9. Here's the sharp 9. Everybody knows this chord, Hendrix chord. You could also play this as an option. This one. If the bass player's playing C, that's kind of a cool voicing. If you're ever looking for an alternative to the Hendrix chord, here's one. Third in the melody, I have to put a flat 9 in there. Sharp 4, sharp 4, flat 5, sharp 5. You can do stuff on the E string as well. There's a flat 5, sharp 5. You got the flat 7. Here's another one. It's cool with the sharp 5. This happens to be the front cover of my book, Voicing Modes. I learned this chord because I heard in a clinic, Joe Pass said, if you can play this chord, you can play anything. So I, of course, immediately had to learn it. I called it the Joe Pass magic chord. It's really a good all-purpose melodic minor chord. It happens to work in harmonic major as well, but let's not go there. And the flat 2, sharp 2, or sharp 9. Major third like this, that flat 9. Sorry. So, and then with the minor chords, you can got, sorry, I'm getting a little messy. And then the B flat Lydian dominant chord, right? I'm pretty much thinking all like stock, mixed Lydian type voicings, except for when there is a 4, I want to change it to a sharp 4. So in something like this, the game show chord, that's got a sharp 4, sorry, a natural 4 in the melody, you raise it to a sharp 4, and it works for Lydian dominant. So if you learn the Lydian dominant like its own thing, as opposed to being aware of its parent scale, which is F melodic minor. B flat Lydian dominant goes 1, 2, 3, sharp 4, 5, 6, flat 7. So if you learn your voicings like that, with those notes in the melody, here's a third in the melody, here's a sharp 4 in the melody, here's a natural 5 in the melody. It looks like a D half diminished, right? But if the bass player is playing B flat, it's a B flat 9, not to be confused with B9, which is better than malignant. B flat 9, and then B13. There's a 13 in the melody. B flat 13, flat 7, root. Yeah. Hey Toby.
Hi.
So the things I have listed here all have the melodies on the E string. So you can go systematically. I kind of find the closest one. There's a root 7 melody. By the way, do you like this voicing? It's a 6/9, like D flat 6/9, but it's got the 7th in the melody. And when it's up, kind of around this area of the neck, I feel like my fingers run out of room to cram that, get that 7th up there. So I like to swap this ring finger and middle finger to give it some more room. When it's below that, it's fine. Everyone will have I've got kind of fat fingers, so when the frets start getting close together, around here, I want to swap it, and then I can keep going. Anyway. So those are those chords. So D flat major, F7 altered, sorry, C7 altered, F minor, B flat 7. And then I could change it to another melody note. Here's another 7th, I guess. And then 11. Here's a 13. It's a nice one. Nice. C7, flat 9, flat 5. Actually, there's no third in it, so you could write it as a G flat over C or an F sharp over C. That's the one right here. You see that there? Okay. And then 11, and then root.
Dad?
Yeah.
Can you come out?
Give me just a second, okay? What do you need?
Dinner's about to start.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, let me just go through these chords. I'll be right there.
Alright.
Okay. 2, 3, go. Once you got those down, you can have fun with it. If you want a copy of this, you have to be in my class. But I just wanted to tell you anyway. Okay, see ya.